Welcome to our latest explainer. Let's just dive right into this, all right? Today we're breaking down a fascinating narrative sourced straight from a vibrant village tale. Now, on the surface, this might just look like a story about a local food market, but look a little deeper and it's actually an incredible case study. It's about the dangers of a monopoly, the sheer power of market disruption, and how ultimate justice absolutely catches up with greed.
So I want you to think about this. What actually happens when a ruthless business owner, who thinks he holds all the cards, messes with a hungry, underestimated stranger? Well, today we're diving into a classic tale of arrogance, an underdog startup that completely flips the script, and a massive surprise twist that proves karma in the business world is very, very real. If you've ever wondered just how fragile a toxic empire truly is, this explainer is going to map it out for you perfectly.
All right, let's start with Section 1, the village monopoly. Our story kicks off in a bustling village, right in the middle of a market entirely controlled by a guy named Aman. Now, Aman runs a hotel, and it's the only non-veg eatery in the entire area. And because he has absolutely zero competition, he price gouges the villagers. He charges an outrageous 150 rupees for a single plate of stale chicken rice. On the flip side, you have the consumer reality, the village poor. When they complain about his sudden price hikes, Aman just arrogantly dismisses them. He literally tells them to go eat plain potatoes if they can't afford his rates. Just pure, unchecked exploitation.
Enter Kabir. He's a mysterious new arrival in the village, and he calmly pays Aman's exorbitant 150 rupee fee without a single argument. But as he hands over the cash, he leaves Aman with a really striking warning. He says, "A business run on fear and intimidation doesn't last long." It's this chilling reminder about the fragility of fear-based empires, you know? But Aman, he's completely blinded by his own greed and just laughs it off. He truly thinks he's untouchable. But as we're about to see, market dynamics can literally change overnight. Which brings us to Section 2, a friend in need. Because, hey, before you can disrupt a market, you sometimes have to hit rock bottom first, right? Just 2 days after confronting Aman, Kabir finds himself completely out of money. I mean, he hasn't eaten in 2 days and is literally starving on the outskirts of the village. Exhausted, with 0 rupees to his name, he begs a local farmer working in a nearby field for help. That farmer is Sham. And that number 4? That represents the entirety of Sham's lunch. We're talking just 4 plain rotis and some green chili chutney. But without a second of hesitation, Sham, who is a deeply impoverished man himself, splits his meager meal right down the middle just to save a stranger's life. And you know what? This act of pure selflessness becomes the catalyst for everything that follows. Deeply touched by this kindness, Kabir actually moves into Sham's humble grass roof hut. This gives him a front-row seat to Sham's dire reality. He meets Sham's elderly mother and learns all about this crippling financial debt they owe to the opportunistic village chief for past medical bills. Seeing all this, Kabir realizes that just working the fields isn't going to cut it anymore. They need a desperate, innovative way out of this systemic poverty. And that leads us to Section 3, the Chicken Paratha disruption. Recognizing Aman's severe vulnerability as a lazy, complacent monopolist, Kabir proposes a radical new business idea. Let's walk through their startup plan, because it's pretty brilliant. Step 1 is capital. Kabir unexpectedly produces this shiny gold ring he had on him, which they sell to fund the venture. Step 2, infrastructure. They buy a simple food cart, a stove, and most importantly, high-quality fresh ingredients. For Step 3, product innovation. Instead of just copying Aman's stale chicken rice, they create something entirely new for the village. Mouth-watering, freshly made chicken parathas. And finally, Step 4, execute the plan and break that monopoly.
So how exactly does the market respond? Well, Aman's hotel is still out there charging 150 rupees for bad food and terrible service. But now, Sham and Kabir's new cart is offering fresh, lovingly made chicken parathas for just 50 rupees. The contrast is absolutely devastating. The villagers, who are so hungry for both good food and just basic respect, instantly flock to the new cart. I mean, Sham and Kabir literally steal all of Aman's customers on day 1. It is textbook market disruption built on value and customer service.
Their early wins are massive. The business booms so fast that they generate incredible daily profits. And in this deeply satisfying moment, they march right up to the village chief and pay off Sham's debt in full. They instantly earn the love and respect of the whole community. But every startup faces looming threats, right? Aman is watching all of this from his totally empty hotel, just consumed by furious jealousy. And an older villager, Manoj Kaka, gives Sham a pretty dire warning. Aman has a history of illegally destroying rival businesses through sabotage. So yeah, the honeymoon phase is officially over.
This takes us into Section 4, a desperate sabotage.
Look, when a monopolist can't compete on quality or price, they almost always resort to dirty tactics. Driven completely mad by his empty hotel, Aman sets his sights on destroying Sham and Kabir. On night one, he hires a local drunk named Birju to just steal the food cart. But Birju completely fails because Sham was smart enough to chain the cart down with a massive iron lock. So on night two, Aman decides he's going to do it himself. He sneaks out in the dead of night and personally plants a small packet of illegal, highly addictive white drug powder directly into Sham's chicken spices.
The very next morning, the trap springs. Inspector Daya suddenly raids the busy food cart based on a so-called anonymous tip. The police search the spices and, shocker, they discover the hidden drugs. Instantly, the fickle villagers turn on them. Even the village chief piles on, loudly claiming that this must be how they paid off their debts so fast. Sham is left weeping and terrified, suddenly facing years in prison for a crime he absolutely didn't commit.
And here is where things get wild. Section 5, the royal twist.
So is this really the end of Sham and Kabir's business? I mean, with the police literally ready to make an arrest, the crowd chanting against them, and Aman just smirking in the background, it really looks like the evil plan has worked perfectly. The underdog is right on the verge of being completely crushed.
But then, the ultimate wild card is played. Kabir calmly steps forward and hands the furious police inspector a premium visiting card. And the name on that card, Kabir Singh. Turns out, he is not a homeless drifter at all. He is the billionaire heir to the city's largest and most luxurious royal hotel empire. The inspector looks at the card, the blood just completely drains from his face, and he immediately snaps a salute.
Right on cue, a luxury car pulls up to the dirt road of the village. Out steps Kabir's father, the tycoon Shamsher Singh. He confirms that Kabir was actually sent to this village with no money for a 1-month humility test. The goal was for him to learn the true value of hard work in ground-level realities before eventually taking over the billionaire empire. Kabir then points out the sheer absurdity of the charges. I mean, why would the heir to a multi-billion-dollar hotel chain be peddling cheap street drugs out of a village food cart? The logic is utterly flawless.
Iman's downfall is incredibly rapid. The inspector immediately realizes Iman planted the drugs, which by the way was a tactic Iman had used on previous competitors. Iman's lies completely fall apart. In seconds, the arrogant monopolist is slapped in handcuffs and dragged away to the police jeep. And those very villagers who were just booing Sham? Yeah, they are now cheering for swift ultimate justice. The market has literally and quite dramatically corrected itself.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, the ultimate payoff.
So the villain is defeated, but Kabir has one final piece of business. He turns to his friend Sham, the man who saved his life with half of his lunch when he had absolutely nothing. Before Kabir returns to his billionaire lifestyle in the city, he uses his wealth to build Sham a massive, beautiful, permanent hotel right there in the village, aptly named Shyam's Chicken Paratha. He secures Sham and his mother's financial future forever, and he does all of it in return for those 4 simple rotis and a moment of genuine human kindness.
This remarkable explainer leaves us with a pretty essential truth, doesn't it? An empire built on fear and monopoly will eventually fall, but success built on honesty, quality, and true friendship, that lasts forever. It really makes you think about your own professional life. Whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, or an executive, what kind of foundation are you building? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.